Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. Bryce Elder has been, you could say, by ERA, the best pitcher in baseball this year. And we've been talking to the last two segments about a lot of advanced analytics. This is one of those that makes absolutely no sense. We have a 2-month sample size, no small sample size. And you can even take it back to last season, a 20-start sample size, where he just hasn't been the advanced. They don't like him. They don't like him. He's near the bottom of the league in almost everything. He doesn't throw hard. Teams hit him hard, but they hit the ball on the ground. And if you hit the ball on the ground hard, it usually doesn't matter. It actually, sometimes if it goes to someone, benefits you even more because you get a lot more double plays and stuff like that. And so I'm digging into it. Why could this be? How is he having this much success? And sure, regression is going to be in line. There's very few pitchers ever that have a sub-2 ERA over an entire season. So that's not going to happen, but we shouldn't be expecting that. If he finishes with a sub-3 ERA, he had a really, really, really good season and way outperformed his advanced analytics. And the one thing you can just point to that sometimes advanced analytics, and there's some guys that it makes no sense about. There's been guys where they can't be explained by advanced analytics. They're not a perfect algorithm. And Bryce Elder seems to be one of those guys because he's straight up, you can't teach a guy that just knows how to pitch, knows how to throw strikes, knows how to execute a game plan. And that's exactly what Bryce Elder has done so far this season. And that's why I'm confident that while, yes, regression's in line and we're going to see a bad start here and there, I don't think this is slowing down. I think we have found a very good pitcher in Bryce Elder.
Yeah, we were all a little cautious at the end of last year because a lot of his stats, and even at the beginning of this year, a lot of his stats were coming against just horrid offenses. You know, the Marlins, the Nationals. And so we were all a little, skeptical of if he could do it. And then he went out and did it against the Astros, did it against the Mariners, did it against good offenses that,
it's the Padres, the Dodgers.
This is the real deal. And every single time he comes out and he does the same thing. It's just amazing to watch. And I do love the nerds that are, squirming around, how does this happen? How does this happen? And everybody's got to remember that, these sports, this game is not played on paper. It takes a man's will, his intelligence, his, baseball IQ matters. We were just talking about how Ronald Acuna was getting by on talent alone, and now his upstairs is connecting with the talent, and we're seeing all this. Bryce Elder has already made that connection because he doesn't have great stuff. He has AAA stuff, but he just knows how to pitch. He knows how to induce those ground balls, and it's amazing to watch. If anybody had this on their bingo card, their Braves bingo card, they're lying to you. Nobody expected this from Bryce Elder.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say it's AAA stuff because I think it's slow. It's slow.
It's so slow.
It's slow.
No spin. The spin rate's terrible.
It's slow. Yeah, but he doesn't throw his fastball often, so it's hard to he only throws it 12% of the time. It's mostly sinker slider. And listen, this is what I thought was interesting about the whole thing. I'm like, what is he doing that's making it? So I dove into his pitch selection and stuff like that to try to explain how he attacks how he attacks hitters and how he has a plan. And what I found is Bryce Elder last year threw a slider about 25% of the time. It was a really good pitch for him. It was his best pitch for him. He's throwing that now 40% of the time. So he's leaning on that slider. It's his most thrown pitch. So he found out, hey, what's working against hitters? Oh, I'm going to throw that the most. That sounds like a pretty good idea of a guy who knows what he's doing. He went away more from his fastball, but this is what I found really intriguing. And this just speaks to his approach of how he attacks batters. His four-seam fastball, he has thrown 133 times this year. 126 of those have come against left-handed hitters. That is a game plan. That is a game plan. His changeup is basically the same thing. He's thrown it 133 times. 86 of those have come against left-handed hitters. So when his fastball is actually his most used pitch. He only uses it 12% of the time against left-handed hitters. His changeup is up there too, and now a 20-25% usage rate, and he only uses it 10% overall. So he has a game plan. He knows what works for him, and he uses it. And I think you're seeing a guy who understands the game at a very, very high level, understands how to pitch. And this is not anything new. He's had amazing, amazing success from Texas to every level of the minors. He's had better numbers than guys like Spencer Strider and stuff like that. Not the strikeouts, but the pure ERA numbers. And now you're seeing it at the major league level. And I just think the sample size, when you go through the minors and you go through everything, there's enough here for me to think the Braves found a guy who he was projected as a 4 or 5. He could easily be a 3. He could easily be a 3.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of Max Fried vibes, where Max Fried, every offseason, he goes back, looks at what he did wrong, what he can improve, whether it's adding a pitch, reducing the percentage that he throws that pitch based on the success and failure rates. He gives me a lot of those vibes where he's just a nerd digging into it. If he can get 1% better, that 1% is going to make a huge difference on the field. And I think, it's not even, we don't even have to say it feels safe. We're just saying it. Bryce Elder's for real.
Yeah, I feel safe in saying that. I feel very safe in saying that. And I'm really excited to see how this turns out and how he sustains this success. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about one of our favorite players. Just kidding. Cam Jordan and something he said about the Falcons.